May I invite Professors Vibeke Sorensen, Chair of School of Arts, Design and Media, to deliver the opening address.
Welcome, everybody. President Professor Bertil Anderson, President Emeritus Professor Su Guaning, Dean Alan Chan, Professor Vasbinder, Professor Emerita Ilga Novotny, Andrew Tan, Chief Executive, Maritime and Port Authority of Singapore, Koo Teng Chai, Executive Director, Center for Livable Cities, honorable and distinguished guests, colleagues, students, and friends, a warm welcome to this first Singapore Heritage Conference. Heritage as a Complex System, which is a collaboration between the School of Art, Design and Media and the NTU Complexity Institute. And it's the brainchild of its chairs, ADM Associate Professor Andrea Nanetti and Assistant Professor Su An Cheung of the School of Physical and Mathematical Sciences. I'm delighted that it is bringing together heritage experts from Singapore and around the world here in our own very special, now I need to see if I can get the next slide, in our very special and wonderful, most beautiful building that I have to say, when I was realizing that I could come here, I said, I can work in that building? To me, this is the kind of thing I wanted to make when I was an architecture student. So I want to welcome you all to the heart of our school. And I want to welcome our speakers, Stefano Bertocci, and I apologize for mispronouncing names. I just literally got off a plane from South America, so please be patient. Stefano Bertocci, Young Kang Kao, Julia Chi, Chua Ai Lin, Roland Fletcher, John Stephen Lansing, Liu Kai Kyun, Ivy Maria Lim, Chi Min Fui, I'm sorry if I mangled that last name, I'm sorry, Nbi Chin, Alessio Ray, Lena Teo Hui Lin, Wan Wei Pin, Julia Nicole Watson, Jean Wei, and Yeo Kang Shua, and our own ADM and Professors Gul Inanch, Michael Walsh, and Andrea Nanetti. And if I left anybody out, I apologize. I hope you'll forgive me. Okay, so, a School of Art, Design and Media and a technological university constitutes the ideal environment to run a new concept of heritage science in which, among all other factors, both art historians and scholars and media artists can play major roles. Heritage science, specifically as a domain, was born in the digital era and applies interdisciplinary methods to the study and conservation of cultural heritage using massive visualization tools. Here, visualizing and visualized are solutions and problems at the same time. They provide sustainable conservation solutions to access information encapsulated in monuments, museums, galleries, libraries, and archives. But at the same time, they need new professional ontologies and ICT tools to organize knowledge as metadata in the semantic web. In this wide frame, a new generation of scholars needs to discuss, test, and implement ICT tools and solutions in correlation with the century-old results of each single discipline, which contributes to the contemporary domain of heritage science. The NTU College of Humanities, Arts and Social Sciences, and in particular our School of Art, Design and Media, can become a permanent forum for the new theoretical templates developed by this first Singapore Heritage Science Conference, and the following ones on how the old tradition provides essential theoretical skills to create new digital solutions for professional data organization and interactive visual information management. Okay. In ADM, I'm chair, but I'm also professor, and actually it turns out that my own undergraduate degrees in architecture, and specifically historic preservation. And I worked for years in historic preservation, both in Copenhagen, Denmark, where I studied 15th century architecture, as well as energy efficient building, including earth-sheltered buildings. So one reason I was so happy when I saw this building, it was exactly what I dreamed of. And then, after I received my postgraduate degree in media, I worked in the city of Albany, New York, which is the state capital of New York, where I photographed every single building in the city, made oral histories, and saved, together with a team, 200 buildings from the 18th and 19th centuries. So I have a particular interest in this subject. Among a number of other video and installation projects that focus on preservation and interactive media was one on ancient summer solstice rituals in Scandinavia that still take place today, where bonfires are burned all along the coastline, which was originally a fertility ritual. Another, the piece I did on Morocco in 1999, was an interactive architectural installation with 10,000 photographs, 300 videos, sound, music, and spices from the Mediterranean and North African region that was used to navigate the data. How might you do that? Well, using boxes with spices in them that had custom embedded and wireless systems for real-time computing, and the algorithms I developed worked with combinatorics to achieve emergent properties. The metaphor was that the mixing of memory is like the mixing of smells or aromas. And each time one remembers, it's a new set of connections, not the same ones. To me, this is much closer to the way memories in our minds work. As in learning from other people's memories, it also included archival materials from other artists and scholars. It compared and linked text, poetry, paintings, photographs, music, sounds from different locations and times that were linked and organized algorithmically, actually using semantic models. The emergent properties arising from the associations resulted in a dynamic conch shell structure. This is just a simple representation of that. My multimedia interactive project, Sanctuary, about natural and spiritual sanctuaries around the world, worked with emergent properties of physical digital systems and had similar large database of media materials, this time 30,000 still photographs, with many movies, sounds, texts, etc. Okay. And there's a motion capture project on Chinese fan dance and wushu, that was just completed, plus a work in progress on Prambanan Borobudur in Bali that includes many original stereoscopic photographs, high-quality recordings of gamelan music, as well as recordings of wayang kulit from the region, and special software and hardware. One of the main reasons why I came to Southeast Asia was to be able to do something more in this area with other people collaboratively. So, I am delighted that the ADM conference co-chair, Dr. Andrea Nanetti, is here, and he is not new in coordinating multidisciplinary research teams on heritage science. For example, in 2000 to 2010, the Venetian colonial architecture, which culminated in a trilingual publication supported, among others, by the University of Bologna and the President of the European Commission. And from 2010 to 2012, he worked on the Marco Polo Bible, a 13th century manuscript. Discovery, restoration, and scientific results were disseminated, culminating in an Italian and Chinese publication supported, among others, by the Italian and Chinese governments. Upcoming on 9 in March of 2014 at Singapore Substation will be a nation-building and cultural heritage event in the silent movie La Nave by Gabrielino D'Annunzio from 1921. It's Rome, New York, Tokyo, and restored by the Cineteca Bologna with live piano music and 2 Singaporean actors reading English translations of the Italian intertitles. It's in collaboration with the Embassy of Italy and the Italian Cultural Institute. So that's something not to miss if those of you who will be here. ADM Associate Chair of Research, Dr. Michael Walsh, has a major multidisciplinary project on the conservation and restoration of architectural heritage in Famagusta, and you'll be hearing more about that at this conference. It's very exciting. And Assistant Professor Nancy Takayama is an expert on Asian design and its heritage, including Bali and Laos. She just won a prize from UNESCO for her innovative research. Assistant Professor Jesvin Yeo has been working on the traditional heritage of Singapore, for which she has received accolades and prizes as well. Associate Professor Hans-Martin Rahl is working on Indonesian shadow puppet theater. And there are more. We have painters, filmmakers, photographers, animators, musicians, and sound designers, visual communicators, interaction product and furniture designers, an entire school of artists and scholars, faculty and students, who in one way or another, through their creativity and research, are contributing to the larger project of preserving and extending as a living heritage the culture of Singapore, the Southeast Asian and South Asian region, and the global environment. The presentation of work by Ishu Patel in the conference program is an example of what an artist can provide to the heritage science discourse. Ishu is considered a master animator and artist and is one of the most senior at ADM. The symbiosis of the Complexity Institute and ADM, our College of Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences, and all schools and colleges in NTU are an incredible opportunity to foster this new approach to the multi- and transdisciplinary domain of heritage science. And the fact that the Imperial College Press already has expressed its interest in publishing a book of collected essays starting from this conference means that something significant in this field will take place here. I'd very much like to thank Dr. Veronica Manson, Director of the Italian Cultural Institute, for the support that she gave to the opera evening. Thank you to all our faculty and staff, especially our IT, AV, and admin staff, for your hard work and dedicated support. Thank you, Chairs Andrea Nanetti and Suan Cheng, for your vision and generosity and your hard work bringing this wonderful event into existence. Thank you, Jan Vasbinder, for your support. And thank you to the Italian Embassy and Yamaha PTE Singapore for your support as well. Thank you, everybody here in the audience, for coming. Please enjoy the conference and the events. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sorensen. May I invite Professor Jan Vasbinder, Director of NTU's Complexity Institute, to deliver his opening address, please.
Okay. Well, the welcomes have been said. I'll just like to repeat it. Welcome, everybody. Many of the things that I wanted to say have been said also, so I might as well go down and step down, but I'd like to give you some background nonetheless. The idea to combine heritage science and complexity science came up during the Complexity Conference in March last year. It was then that Andrea Nanetti and Chong Suan met and started a collaboration that led to this conference. And I would not be surprised to many more conferences and to maybe totally new science. On the face of it, heritage science and complexity science are not easy to combine. But if you think about it, such a combination seems logical. Heritage science focuses on what we pass on from the past to the future, and more in particular on managing the changes and the risks associated with that connection through time. Complexity science focuses on connections between parts and on interactions along those connections and what emerges as a result. So there is logic in combining the two. And there is great opportunities in doing so as well. Not only Andrea and Sue-Ann saw those opportunities, although it must be said that it was their vision that led to this conference. But as Vibeke already mentioned, the Imperial College Press has expressed an interest for a book with collected essays that starts with this conference. And there's interest from MIT and Harvard University Press and Chicago University Press as well. And of course you see the opportunity, otherwise you would not be here. But let me make some remarks that are on the surface totally unconnected and that give you a perspective that seems to may have nothing to do with what this conference is about, but it will give you a broad perspective, at least I hope it will be, on the combination of two sciences. Our ancestors long ago believed that the earth was the back of an elephant that was standing on a turtle that was swimming in a bottomless sea. On what that sea rested, they did not know. Whether that sea ended, they did not know either. Their belief was founded on imagination. We have a different image of the earth. To us it is a sphere, teeming with life that rotates around the sun like a chicken around the fire. Our image is not founded on a belief, but on a single force, gravity. Gravity is responsible for the spherical shape of the earth. Gravity ensures that the sun does not explode, and gravity makes the earth rotate around the sun in an eternal effort to stay away from it. Gravity works not only on stars, but also between stars. It keeps them within stellar configurations that fill the universe. But the boundaries of our universe are just as unknown, just as mysterious, and just as incomplete as the images our ancestors had about the bottomless sea. Between the image of our ancestors and our images lies science, a special method to find out what reality means. Observing is essential for that method. Without observation, nobody can get an idea how remarkable the reality of nature is. Science has shown us that all life on Earth is connected. Of course, Lao Tse knew this already 3,000 years ago, but that's another story. Through science, we have discovered that the chlorophyll in the leaves of trees and the hemoglobin in our blood share the same benzene rings. Without those rings, leaves and blood would not be able to absorb or release. And that universality goes a lot further. 4.5 billion years ago, the Earth formed from the remnants of an exploding star. That star and the Earth were composed of the same atoms as we are. The Earth changed and evolved in the million years ago. That evolution led to a being that looked like a human. 400 years ago, man found a method to discover what reality really looks like. And then he found that he is built from exactly the same material as the stars and all other things in the universe. His power to search for the reality is generated by the reality he searches for. The Buddhist saying says that every man has been given the keys to the gates of heaven, but that the same key can also open the gates to hell. And in some sense, science and the knowledge it produces is such a key. The same knowledge to split the nuclei of atoms to generate electricity can also be used to make a nuclear bomb. We are happy with the development of medicine, but we have to live with the consequences that nobody dies anymore of the diseases that we eliminated. Knowledge comes with indication, without indication what is behind the gates that we open with it. But the knowledge we created has changed the world. The Industrial Revolution would not have happened without it. And without that knowledge, only few of us would grow older than 40 years. Knowledge seemed the key to the gates of heaven, but it is the use of that key that opens the gates. And it is people that use that knowledge. And sometimes they use it to open the gates of hell. And that hell shows itself in excessive disharmony. Disharmonies between ratio and reason. Disharmony between the past and the present. And disharmony between man and the living world. It is in understanding the causes of these disharmonies and the efforts to avoid the evolution of these disharmonies that heritage science meets complexity science. So the emerging science that may come out of this conference has a tremendous topic to deal with. And I wish you all a lot of inspiring discussions and thought in exploring that topic. But before I leave the floor to Andrew Tan and Helga Novotny, I would like to make one remark. It is often taken for granted that good ideas come from good people. But it is also often forgotten that those people would get nowhere without a support staff that tells them what to do and that takes care of all other essentials. This conference would not have happened if Karen Chung and Suan Goy had not put all their experience, dedication, perseverance, and energy online to make it happen. As Andrea mailed me the other day, Karen and Suan did an excellent job. I felt safe with them during all the organization process, and I hope they forgave me for being so new in all NTU and Singapore things and issues. End of quote. I'm sure they did, and I'm sure you will enjoy and be inspired by this conference.